of children with autism, something as simple as having a conversation can be near impossible. Difficulty with language skills and verbalizing their thoughts is what one mother wanted to do something about. So on this last day of National Autism Awareness Month, I want to bring in Laura Kasbar. Her twins have autism, and to combat those limited verbal skills, she and her husband developed the learning program called the Gemiini system. And Laura, thank you so much for being with me. I know you're passionate about this. Tell me first, what is the Gemiini system and how is this different than maybe going to speech therapy?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, so initially, when we started it, my twins did not respond to therapy, so I invented this system, and it's really a video-based system. It is much different than speech therapy because it works on a neurological level. There are many ways that it impacts neurology of the person watching it, but two are really more notable than others. First off, people with autism have a hyperconnected default network, or the part of the brain used for dreaming and daydreaming. This results in a learning regression that is very common with autism, but the same thing happens with any of us. When we wake up from a dream, as the minutes tick by, we start to forget the dream. Well, people with autism sort of live in a dream all of the time. And Gemiini has auditory and visual anomalies embedded into the editing process, which ensures that people on the spectrum are learning the information in the active network of the brain. And researchers from Princeton University published a study showing that even adults on the spectrum remember what they learned from Gemiini months later. It's very unusual with this population. Secondly, people with autism have loosely packed myelin, which is the insulation over the neurons. And that's usually, we think that's the reason why people with autism have delayed response time when you ask them a question. Well, if you practice something over and over and over again, you're able to lay down new layers of myelin naturally. And it doesn't matter whether you do it physically or you visualize the practice, but it depends on the will of the volunteer, of the person doing it, because you have to first know how to practice and want to practice. And if you're a little child who's nonverbal, knowing how and wanting to is very difficult. With Gemiini, the practice is passive, so just by watching the video, your brain is getting the same neurological benefit as if you were actually practicing yourself.
Well, and I know you've heard, even from parents of children with Down syndrome, this has been effective. What are we talking about time frame here?
Well,
when to see results?
Well, this is the difficult thing, is because what we definitely know is that neurological improvement is happening. What we don't know is how long it takes for your individual child. We don't know the state of their individual brain. So some children see results literally in seconds. We have parents sending us videos of their nonverbal children using Gemiini and speaking the first few minutes they're watching the video. Is astounding. Then we have other children who are older and they've taken years to respond verbally. And that's what's a little bit frustrating when parents say, oh, my child's not responding, it's not working. And I ask them, are you testing receptively? Do you know if the child's understanding? And when they finally do test receptively, they find out the child has been learning everything all along. It's just taking longer to get out of his mouth.
Well, and every child is so different. And I know you say you just don't want parents to give up. So we want to give people a little bit more information about the Gemiini system as far as where they can find it. So we're going to, a little bit later today, put this on our Facebook page so people can learn more. But for now, Laura Kasbar, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.